There are planes outside and they're wildin'. Vancouver is all up a cloudin', and I overslept, which is why this video is coming late. Let's talk about Bo Horvat, Vancouver Canucks captain once again, and the new rumors that have circled around in regards to what exactly the Vancouver Canucks offer might have been to this guy, that in which he said no to, and how much worse the entire situation has gone from yesterday up until today. Earlier today, we had ourselves a statement issued by Bo himself via the Vancouver Canucks website. When was the last time a player issued a statement through the website? And I mean, look, the nature of this statement is so telling as to what the overall mood is, what Bo's attitude is probably like, and how the discourse of social media people like myself, journalists like Elliot Friedman, and people like Rick Dhaliwal, it's a coagulation of what everybody has talked about that is causing this sort of an attitude. Vancouver Canucks captain Bo Horvat released the following statement today on the Vancouver Canucks website. I'm focused on this season and playing for the Vancouver Canucks, helping the team in any way I can. I will not have any further comments this year about my future. And you know, that's the comment from a guy who's about to leave. Straight up, there is nothing in there that says to me Bo is going to take a discount and sign with the Canucks, and he's going to set aside a few $1 million a season from another team to ride off into the sunset with the Vancouver Canucks Henrik Sedin style. He's not going to do that. You know who else said something like this? John Tavares. You know who else said something like this? Johnny Gaudreau. And you know what? Those statements from those players, they were way better than this one. They were all so full of love, and oh, I love playing in New York, I want to stay here, I love playing in Calgary, I love Calgary, I love Calgary. This one is just, I'm playing for Vancouver, and I'm focused on Vancouver, that's it, I'm not talking about my future, sayonara. Like, that is it. And Bo, I mean, look, he's got to make it at least a little bit convincing that he wants to stay here. I mean, oh man, maybe it's because it's in writing that it feels so bad. Like, you know, the way you say things can really change the way you feel about things. I'm focused on this season and I'm playing for the Canucks, helping the team in any way I can. I will not have any further comments about my future. Versus, I'm focused on this season and playing for the Canucks, helping this team in any way I can. I won't have any comments about my future. Like, one versus the other. Sure, the second one still sounds kind of bad, but it sounds a bit better, right? And furthermore, I wanted to talk about something that Frank Saravalli said here on Sportsnet 650. He was on Canucks Central the other day, and what he did was talked about pretty much what he felt the Bo Horvat contract offer was from yesterday, that in which they said that he declined and is now going to have to go to the trade market for because of. Here is the tweet on Sportsnet 650 and their Twitter account. What was the initial offer from the Canucks to Bo Horvat, and where's the gap between the two sides now? Here's the quote from Saravalli. The offer in the summer was exactly the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins contract, 8 years by $5.125. I don't know how far the gap has been bridged. I think that initial volley was so outside the ballpark of what the Horvat camp considered respectable that there was a good amount of frustration. So, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, let's talk about him for a little bit right here. Burnaby, BC, 29 years old, 6 feet 183, left-handed center, signed until the end of 2029, making that $5.125. He was a first overall pick. And unfortunately, he is not Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews, he is just Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. You see, the thing about Nuge is that he's not actually a bad player. I think a lot of people would say that he's a pretty good one, and this season, he's got 33 points in 29 games played. Last year, 50 points, 63 games played. The year before that, 52 games played, and he had 35 points. In 2019 and 2020, though, guess what? The guy had 69 points in 82 games and 61 points in 65. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a pretty legit NHL forward, and when it comes to his contract being the way that it is, I would say that his $5.125 is a little bit of a bargain, but then again, he had signed it quite a while ago. This is the first reply on the Sportsnet 650 Twitter about this Nugent-Hopkins deal. Reminder that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' career points per game is higher than Bo's. Nugent-Hopkins is at a .75, Bo is at a .66. How in the world is that a ridiculous offer? Now, I get it. You could say, oh, Bo Horvat is on pace for 60 goals. Bo Horvat is on pace for 100 points. Or 89 points, or whatever the number is right now. But that's what it is now, as we had just said. Bo Horvat never really had a season that was as good as he's producing right now, ever before. It's just, to me, I feel like when you think about Nugent-Hopkins and his contract, obviously he is not one of the best players on the Edmonton Oilers. That honor belongs to McDavid, belongs to Draisaitl, you could say it belongs to Kane or Hyman. Nugent-Hopkins is like third on a good day in the pecking order of forwards on this team in terms of greatness, and he's like fifth or sixth every other few days that rolls around. For Bo, he pretty much is the top goal scorer on the team, and you could say that he's probably the most important since he is the captain. Maybe he's not Elias Pettersson, maybe he's not scoring points like Miller, but Bo is up there in terms of his importance to the team. And I guess if you wanted to make an argument that says, hey, Bo shouldn't be making the same as Nugent-Hopkins, Nugent-Hopkins has McDavid and Draisaitl to rely on. Bo doesn't have too many people to fall back on. Sure, Miller and Petey are technically better players and more productive players, but Bo is the captain. Bo is defensively responsible. Bo is the two-way guy that we all kind of know. I kind of disagree with that sentiment because I don't think his two-way game is all that great, but that's the argument I feel might have been thrown out there as to why this Nugent-Hopkins offer was seen as kind of ridiculous by the Horvat camp. And now we're talking about the team potentially wanting to shell out maybe 7 point something million to this guy, and him saying no, him pricing himself out of Vancouver because of how well he's performed. This was a quote from Bo earlier today on his statement. At this point, it's not about me. I've always wanted to keep this confidential. I don't want this to be a distraction. I feel bad for my teammates having to hear all about this in the media. And, I mean, look, if it was not all about you, you would have signed the contract already. I know that your agent is the one that does negotiating here, but at the end of the day, you're the client. You could say in the face of your agent, hey, you know, I kind of just want to stay here. Let's sign $6 million by 8 years. Like, obviously, he's not going to do that, and his agent is not going to let him do that, but theoretically, I mean, could he not do that if he wanted to? If he would have been willing to do that, this thing would have been done by now. The team would have signed him, and it's very much within his right to get as much money as possible. That's the name of the game when you're living in a capitalistic society like we are in 2022. I have no problem with people going out there and trying to maximize their own worth in the market that in which they are in. But when it comes to Bo Horvat's comments, like, bro, you're not gonna stay. He's not staying. Plain and simple. Like, that statement on the Canucks website is worse than every other statement we have had from any other notable player of any of these teams that was destined to leave in free agency. The Tavarises, the Gaudreaus, you could even say the Tkachuks. That wasn't free agency, but it was sort of similar, you get what I mean. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Patrick Laine, Jack Eichel, this is the worst out of all of them. I'm focused on this season and playing for the Canucks, helping the team in any way, and I will not have any further comments this year about my future. Wow. Okay. Trade into New Jersey. Let's see everything come full circle. We'll get Corey Schneider in return. Talk of the console your thoughts about the Vancouver Canucks captain Bo Horvat, the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins contract comparison, and everything in between. What are your thoughts about the statement that he made? What are your thoughts about where he's going to go? What are your thoughts about how much money he's going to be making for next season? And what are your thoughts on 5.125 by 8 years? Is it that disrespectful of an offer to give to your captain? I mean, look, Brock Besser got re-signed in the same offseason, and that guy had a 6.6 AAV deal. He was a point-per-game player just a few years ago in the North Division season, and he was a lot better in his prime than Bo was in his prime. Actually, no, I take that back. Bo's in his prime now, and yeah, he's really freaking good. So, talk to the comments about your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this. Juraj, and bye.